expected points, clean sheet odds, and who is the best captain. This video has got all of the information you need to know ahead of game week 18. All right, we're going to start off then by looking at the top players for expected points by position. And all of this expected points data is courtesy of Fantasy Football Hub. Using my link in the description below, you can sign up, you get 30% off and a free 30-day trial. So if you like what you see in this video from the stuff courtesy of Fantasy Football Hub, there's a link to sign up in the description. So we're going to look at the top players for expected points by position, starting off with the goalkeepers, and this is a view of just game week 18 in isolation. We've got Alisson as the top keeper with Leicester at home, Raya in second place with Ipswich at home, followed by Sanchez with Fulham, Kepa against Palace, Verbruggen against Brentford, Sells against Tottenham, and Forster against Forest. Now, I think when you're making transfer decisions in FPL, you should make them with more than just one game week in mind, right? One game week ahead in mind. So what I've got here is a view of the top goalkeepers for the next 5 game weeks. I think if you're making a transfer in FPL looking to bring a player in, you want to do so with a view of at least the next 3 to 5 game weeks. So what we've got here, top goalkeepers for the next 5. Similar sort of order, we've got Alisson, Raya, Sanchez as the top 3. Emiliano Martinez of Aston Villa, Jordan Pickford, Fraser Forster, and Sells. These are your top keepers for the next 5. I would actually say one player that I think is ranked a little bit too low compared to where he should be is Sells. I really like him as a goalkeeper in this game. I think he's providing the perfect balance this season of saves and clean sheets. And I think it's fair to say in my mind, I would put Forest as probably the 3rd best defence in the Premier League behind Liverpool and Arsenal. And at 4.7 million, you know, for a keeper playing for a defence of that quality, and as they've proven this season, they can just turn up and keep a clean sheet against practically anyone. They kept one against Liverpool at Anfield. They've kept one against Brentford at the G-Tech, which is notoriously a really difficult place to go. So yeah, I'd back Forest. I wouldn't necessarily expect them to keep clean sheets in every game. Of course, that's not possible. But I really do like Forest. I think Sells is a nice option just as a set and forget. Continuing on with the point about Gabriel, he is the top defender for the next 5 game weeks. And like I said, I think he's the best defender in the game right now. You got Robertson, who, like I said, the Fantasy Football Hub algorithm really favours. But I would personally only go for Trent and Virgil van Dijk of Liverpool. We've got Guardiola on there and Saliba as well. One player that I guess I'm a little bit surprised to see quite so high. I'm not surprised to see him backed by the algorithms, but Munoz looks like a really good pick at the moment. He served his ban in that Arsenal game. Obviously, his team conceded 5 goals in that fixture as well. But I do think it's fair to say, at least before that Arsenal fixture, that Crystal Palace were kind of turning a corner in terms of their form. And yeah, I think he's a great option. They got decent fixtures going forward. And particularly with Ismaila Sarr in the team, Munoz is just looking ridiculously attacking. And I think, yeah, one of the best defenders in the game. And certainly, as you can see there, the best cheap defender. I was trying to avoid this rhyme, but I'm going to have to say it. Munoz seems to be the best cheap defender, but let's have a look at the rest. So we got Gusto of Chelsea up there. Chelsea have a fantastic fixture run for the next sort of 5 or 6 fixtures. My favourite, I'd say, outside of Munoz, I didn't talk about him in my buy and avoid video, but I really do think Milenkovic is a great option in this game. Of all of the Nottingham Forest defenders, despite Aina scoring again in game week 17, Milenkovic is the one that's putting up the best attacking data, and he'd be the one I pick from my perspective. You see Rico Lewis there? I mean, are you really going to pick a Man City defender at the moment? The algorithm still likes Man City, but I don't think I can bring myself to buy Man City defenders. You've got Matty Cash and Luca Dean seem to have both nailed down those fullback positions for Villa now, and you see their fixtures are reasonably decent coming up. And then Colwill as well for Chelsea. I think the Chelsea defenders are really propped up by those fantastic fixtures, but going back to the previous slide, I think Munoz is definitely the best cheap defender in the game right now going forwards. And I also really like Milenkovic. All right, on to the midfield then. And with Leicester at home being his fixture, I think Salah is by far and away the best player. Probably in the game for game week 18, but of course the best midfielder. I wanted to add this point when talking about Salah and just promoted teams in general. I really do think this season the promoted teams are really worth targeting. Leicester, despite under a new manager, still don't look all that good. And yeah, I think Salah could go absolutely crazy in that game. I am recording this ahead of the Liverpool-Tottenham game. So things could change, things could happen, things could change in that game. But yeah, Salah, by far and away the best midfielder, I think. Palmer in second, got Fulham at home, decent fixture. But yeah, I don't think you could put him above Salah. Odegaard, I think with Saka's injury, he's going to be taking penalties now for Arsenal. That could potentially raise him as a prospect, potentially. Bruno Fernandes, Man United have just been absolutely blitzed by Bournemouth. Yeah, he can be decent. Yeah, I guess you just know with Bruno Fernandes, he plays 90 minutes every game and takes penalties, right? Wolves away is a decent fixture, but I'd probably favour Odegaard, given that Odegaard is now the Arsenal penalty taker with no Saka. Diogo Jota is tempting, but he's just come back from injury, and I just don't trust his minutes. I think whenever he plays, he looks dangerous, but that's the question. When does he play? And are his minutes worth 7.2 million? I'm not too sure. A lot of people on my streams talking about Phil Foden as a potential replacement for Saka. Could well be. Looks to be starting every game for Man City, scoring some goals, but I'm not sure I could back Man City really to score all that many. Everton at home, I think Everton love to park the bus, as we've seen. Kept clean sheets now against Arsenal and Chelsea. So yeah, I'm just not sure I'm expecting much from Foden. And then Mbeumo, yeah, he's dropped off the ball a little bit, but he could still be a decent option against Brighton as well. I'm just a little bit, those bottom four players there, I'm just a little bit pessimistic on myself. All right, on to the forwards. Haaland against Everton is top, closely followed by Isak with Aston Villa. Cunha, Chris Wood, Kai Havertz, Jackson and João Pedro. One player that is missing from this list, should he start against Ipswich, is Gabriel Jesus. I think that's just reflected in the Fantasy Football Hub algorithm that he isn't necessarily nailed on. Although I do think with that Saka injury, he either plays at the centre forward spot or just gets stuck on the right wing with the form that he's been in. I don't think Arteta's going to leave him out. The one thing I would say about Gabriel Jesus, I'm talking about a player that isn't even on this list, but I think he's probably the most noteworthy one to talk about, is I just see him as a perpetually like purple patch player. I think he'll have 4 to 5 game weeks of really good goal scoring form and then either get injured or go completely off the boil. Yeah, I know he's great value, under 7 million, it's likely starting for Arsenal, potentially at centre forward. Arsenal got good fixtures, all of those things, but I just don't like his purple patchiness and I don't like his injury record. You might disagree with me, let me know in the comments. Over the next 5 game weeks, the ranking goes Haaland, Isak, Cunha, who still hasn't had his ban yet, scored, got max bonus in game week 17, still hasn't had his ban. Chris Wood, Mateta could be a good option alongside Ismaila Sarr, Nicholas Jackson, and somehow João Pedro still makes the list. I'm starting to lose faith big time in João Pedro. He's in my team and I really want to get rid of him at this point. Cheap forwards, Wood, João Pedro, Raul Jimenez, Wissa, Evan Nilsson, Strand Larsen, and Delap is the order. So this is sub 7 million. Despite not returning in game week 17, I back this. I think Chris Wood is the best forward at this price category. And I'm misowning him. I think he is a really fun player in this game to own, purely because he's a bit old school and obviously a little bit boring. He's not tricky and skillful or whatever, but I think that makes it quite fun to own him in FPL. I'm really tempted next week to do João Pedro to Chris Wood, but it does feel like a bit of a luxury transfer. All right, next up, we've got the clean sheet odds. This is ranked by percentage. So we got Arsenal as 60% to keep a clean sheet, so that's pretty high. Liverpool and Man City both above 40. Liverpool on 47, Man City on 46. Do you put Man City at 46% to keep a clean sheet, though, in current form? I personally don't, but that's what the odds are saying in the 11-a-fight algorithm. It's built up over time with Man City just being, an absolute behemoth recently in recent seasons. So I think that's factored into these algorithms, but I personally don't think I'd agree at 46%. Chelsea on 32, Bournemouth on 31, and usually anything below 30%, I don't tend to back a clean sheet from, ultimately, but there are a few teams relatively close. So we've got Man United, Brighton, West Ham. They're all relatively close there to 30%. But Bournemouth, Chelsea, you got to say it, Man City, they're on the model. Personally, not my standout, but they're up there. Liverpool and Arsenal are the best defences for clean sheet odds in game week 18. And one other team as well. I know the odds are not looking great for them, but I do think Nottingham Forest could still keep a clean sheet in game week 18. They've proven that they can keep them regardless of their opposition, so I'd put them as a bit of an outsider to keep one as well. Captaincy this coming week. I don't think it's all that hard. I got to be honest. I really don't think it's all that hard. I'm not even going to speak too much about it. I think Salah is by far and away the outstanding captain. Providing he gets through this game against Spurs unscathed, well, I'll have to re-record this video if he gets injured, I think. But yeah, I just think he's by far and away the outstanding captain. Better fixture than Palmer, better fixture than Haaland, better fixture than Isak. And Gabriel, interestingly, is the 5th best player for expected points in Game Week 18, according to Fantasy Football Hub. Yeah, for me, Salah is the clear captain. And FPL Review, I keep wanting to call them Fantasy Football Reviews, FPL Review, who I know a lot of people love looking at as a source of expected points data. Salah is number 1 here as well. So, yeah, I think it's clear. Game Week 18, Salah captain. All right, and that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed that, found it useful. Hopefully it's given you lots to think about and lots that you now know ahead of Game Week 18. If you did enjoy it and found it useful, please leave me a like rating. Let me know in the comments what you thought of any of the opinions I've given in this video. I haven't said this very much regularly, but as long as you're polite about it, I really don't mind if you disagree, because FPL is all about people with different opinions. If we all had the same opinion, we'd all captain the same player, our teams would look the same, and the game would be really boring, and we don't want that. That leaves me to say, if you enjoyed the video and haven't already, please subscribe to the Goal to Goal channel. Should be just there on your screen. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video.